Good morning, good morning. Welcome both in the sanctuary and online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg on the unceded lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Jeanay Johnson. For those who are visually impaired, my vessel is a woman, born of African descent with blue locks, and I'm clothed in black and a lot of patterns. I'm excited to bring you today's worship with my colleague, Chey, titled Collective Liberation.
Thanks, Jeanay. I am a white female presenting human with brunette hair, wearing a blue floral dress. If you want a church where we choose solidarity over charity and where we acknowledge broken systems rather than broken people, I have good news for you. You may have found your church home.
For our announcement, today is the UUSP 102 class at noon. All are more than welcome to attend, so if you're thinking about volunteering or already lending a hand around the church, this class is designed for everyone giving their time and energy to our community, whether you're brand new or have been showing up for years. In that class, we'll cover the essential ins and outs of church life, building basics, safety procedures, and so forth. And so let's be real, if you're volunteering, you should really get to know how things work around here.
Please read.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more announcement that came up earlier. Improv. So we have another announcement that was given to me this morning. It's a farewell to Diane Dwyer. As many of you know, UU member Diane Dwyer is moving to Vermont in July. This is a memory book for Diane. There is a memory book for Diane in Gilmore on the Mingles table. So please take a moment to write your name and a farewell message in this book for her. Feel free to share a favorite memory or anything you would like for Diane to hold in her heart when she leaves. We will have a farewell party after service on June 29th, and the book will be in Gilmore after service each Sunday this month.
Please read the rest of your announcements in the order of service in our newsletter and on the TV in Gilmore during coffee hour.
As we gather here as Unitarian Universalists, atheists, pagans, and beyond, we're a people of diverse beliefs, branching from the beautiful teachings of the Bible, poetry from the Quran, teachings of the Buddha, and so forth, but there lies a common faith. The values that hold us together like the spider's web, and that we are all interconnected to one another and to our earth, our home. Wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Allow me to give a special welcome to any newcomers. Now, if you are new to UU St. Pete, even relatively new, can you give us a wave? Hello. During coffee hour, please take a moment to meet someone you haven't met before and bring welcome to our new faces in this space.
Thank you for silencing your cell phones. Regarding masks, we encourage you to wear one as you're comfortable. Now is the time for us to turn and greet our neighbors. Please remember that if you're going to travel to address your neighbors, that you get back to your seat just as quickly. Say hello to someone new today, and please remember to get consent if you're going to hug or shake hands.
That was good. Yeah.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now please rise as you are willing and able for our first hymn, Building a New Way. This is number 1017 in the Teal hymnal.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Fate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Faith and zeal is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Thank you. Thank you. Please remain standing for our chalice lighting. The flaming chalice is a reminder that we choose to focus here together for this time today, that we believe such time is sacred. When Emma lights her chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found within your programs and online. Feel free to follow along with the hand movements, hand to heart, then hands reaching out like you're serving. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You may be seated.
We come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. Those of you on YouTube Live right now are not in this room, but your presence is still felt. Please type your joys, sorrows, and concerns into the text chat. If you have a joy, sorrow, and concern to submit during the week, please write to Rev Ben at minister@uustpete.org. All right.
Right now,
Could you drop a stone for us?
we're going to place an imaginary stone
Yeah, imaginary water.
in imaginary water. Feel the water within your vessel. As we place these stones of joys and concerns, just feel it. That was placed this week. So if you have any additional cards that you filled out, please bring it up, and please do so at this time, or ask a neighbor to bring yours up for you.
Do you have any? Okay, our first, we're going to start with a sorrow from Debbie Mazer. It is for the death of the jazz guitarist Howard Steinberg.
Our sorrow today is from Beth. Her 21-year-old cat passed away last week, and she misses her very much.
Okay, that's it. And we will place the final stone for those joys and concerns that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken out loud. It is now time for our responsive reading. The words can be found in the gray hymnal. It's responsive reading number 602.
So I will lead with the bolded words, and you read the italicized words. Number 602, if there is to be peace. If there is to be peace in the world, if there is peace in the nations,
There must be peace in the cities.
if there is to be peace in the cities, if there is to be peace between neighbors,
There must be peace in the home.
if there is to be peace in the home.
There must be peace in the heart.
Thank you.
Next, we will be going to Spirit of Life, led by Todd.
Please rise as you're able if you would like. Number 123, Spirit of Life. If you know it, feel free to close your eyes and just be in a moment of meditation as we sing together. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Next, we would like to welcome Emma Schock for our View for the Pew.
Good morning. Hello. For those who don't remember me, my name is Emma, she, her. I'm a member of this congregation and I lead the Ghost of the Bodily Autonomy team. Outside this church, I'm a local organizer, graphic designer, and mother to a very small revolutionary that's obsessed with our collective liberation. Ha 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 ha. Thank you. So, why haven't I been around? This is in part because my family and I were displaced for 4 months after Hurricane Helene destroyed our home, something we're still recovering from. There's also a lot of scary things going on right now, right? Yeah. I know this is hard to hear, but we allowed this. We helped create the perfect conditions for this iteration of fascism by refusing to act. As long as our comfort wasn't disturbed, as long as they didn't come for us. So how do we start to see ourselves as part of the collective? Simply believing something is right or wrong isn't enough. We have to keep listening, keep learning, keep speaking out, and taking action whenever we witness injustice, especially when it doesn't benefit us. We must all continue to challenge ourselves, our motivations, thoughts, and actions to ensure we're actively working to dismantle these systems of oppression, including the ones built inside of us. The worst mistake someone can make when doing this work is convince themselves they've learned everything and are incapable of being problematic. Something all of us need to become comfortable with is taking accountability. Not with hollow words, solemn faces, and teary eyes, but with real change. And dismantling that supremacist ideology takes a lot of effort. I'm speaking from experience. This work is not always easy. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's even painful. But I promise you it's fulfilling. This is a necessary first step towards collective liberation. Don't run from the discomfort. Sit with it and feel those feelings. Nobody wants to feel like they aren't a good person, that the country they call home is not the good guy they thought. The atrocities committed in our name for the false sense of security for the privileged, for the overflowing pockets of the rich, the imperial boomerang always comes back to the empire that threw it. But is this why we should fight for others? Out of fear that nobody will fight for us when we are at risk? As if our empathy and action are part of an exchange? No. This is not collective liberation. We must fight for others because we are them. In a letter to Angela Davis, James Baldwin wrote, "If they take you in the morning, they will be coming for us that night." Some take this to mean because they came for you, they're going to come for us, so we should fight. Which isn't surprising in a society that breeds hyper-individualism loaded with supremacy, where many refuse to act until they're directly impacted. It's why so many have stayed silent about the ongoing genocides in Sudan, Congo, and of course, Palestine, why their lives matter less than beachfront condos and endless vacations, why some feel the need to protect their privilege at all costs, even if it costs their soul. No. What we must understand is that every single one of us are inextricably linked. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. If they take you in the morning, we must all be ready to fight back. Because if they take one of us, they have taken all of us, and we refuse to allow it to continue. That is collective liberation. Thank you. Free Palestine.
We'd like to invite our choir up for the anthem, Standing on the Side of Love. give the choir another hand. Good morning, everyone. I forget that everybody repeats it after I say that, sorry. I am not here this morning for just inspiration. I'm here to challenge you. Surprise, surprise, right? Because gathering in this space, this sanctuary, in this community, is not just an act of warmth or comfort. It is a declaration, a refusal to look away, a refusal to stay numb, a refusal to live on the surface while others are drowning beneath systems that we benefit from.
Today, I invite you to journey with me through an exploration of what it means to live with a theology that places humanity first. We will dive deep into literature and history to the point where we feel like the internal flame is fueled with compassion and empathy for our fellow humanity here on this soil, to Ethiopia, Bosnia, Gaza, Serbia, India, Nigeria, Sudan. The scroll reaches far outside these doors.
Here we don't turn from the truth, we turn toward it, and that demands something real. This morning, I invite you into a reflection on personal responsibility as a spiritual practice. And I need to be clear, it's not a practice of niceness. It's a practice of courage, of truth-telling, and of taking action, especially when it's uncomfortable, especially when it costs something.
At its heart of creation, Universalism declares something radically inclusive, that no soul is outside the circle of love, that we are all, every single one of us is worthy of dignity, compassion, and justice.
We love to say that none of us are free until all of us are free. But how often do we really live like that's true? Because if we did, we'd be doing far more than we are. Too many people, Black people, Indigenous people, disabled people, queer and trans people, poor and undocumented people, are still waiting for the rest of us to care enough to act. Not in symbolic ways, not with hashtags, but with real, sustained, sacrificial commitment. And that's what personal responsibility demands.
This belief is not abstract. It is deeply rooted in both theology and our history. Now, we have all heard at one point or another about Martin Luther hammering his 95 Theses to the doors of Castle Church in Germany. In the 15th century, has anybody heard of it, hands? See, I knew it. Do we remember why? Well, he was doing it to challenge the church's practices that symbolically created a moment in that space and time that was pivotal to gain widespread attention and the need for religious reformation. But did you know that that act was actually not the first? It was popularized, but not the first. In fact, it was the 13th century, arguably the 14th century, Lollards that argued the baseline necessities of baptism and salvation. Unitarianism was born in the 16th century as part of the foundations of this radical formation. If you are UU, it is literally in your DNA to stand together and yet apart from the expectations of society. What do you know?
Unitarian Universalist principles are not decorative, they are directives. The first principle commands us to affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, not just when it's convenient, not just when it aligns with our comfort, but when it requires us to stand in hard truths, dismantle unjust systems, and give up power that we've been taught to protect. Affirming dignity is not passive. It is a daily discipline. It shows up in how we speak, how we listen, how we learn, and most of all, how we show up in solidarity, especially for those whose dignity has been denied by this society again and again.
Universalism emerged as a response to the doctrine of internal damnation, offering instead a gospel of hope, that a loving God could never condemn anyone to everlasting torment. But Universalism never stopped at the gates of theology. It spilled over into ethics, communal engagement, with action, of course, at its roots. In order to move forward, we must always consider and practice Sankofa, the going back and getting what is necessary to build forward. It compelled people of faith to become some of the earliest advocates for abolition, women's rights, and prison reform in this country. They understood what we are still trying to live today. Spirituality is, in fact, tethered to moral courage. I've heard many UUs argue, we talk so much about social justice and not spirituality. Y'all trying to be modest. But I beg to differ. What is spirituality but humanism in a collective effort to engage in educational action and attuning to raise our frequencies to a collective consciousness, thus incurring collective liberation from the tyrannical systems that have ostracized crystals and meditation, an earthly item that carries its own frequency in your bra or in your pocket or around your wrist. Then a practice of hearing your essence in meditation finds calm within your mind by enabling silence to focus and connect your inner you, your inner self, connecting that diencephalon in your brain. I'm a massage therapist, so I always do anatomy. Between your left and your right hemisphere, connecting your higher self, your inner child, your inner light. Oh, that's right. That's why they do it, so that you don't. Don't get me started on that horse. I will have us in here ready to reform the city government and enable a Celestine prophecy in this piece.
We are interconnected, but let's be honest. The web that we're caught in is not neutral. It's been twisted by racism, patriarchy, white supremacy, ableism, capitalism, and in this web, some are given parachutes while others are handed weights. If you hold privilege, you hold power, and that means you also hold responsibility to use it, to redistribute it, to name the systems that protect you while crushing others. This is not about guilt, it's about accountability. Guilt sits still. Accountability moves. It asks more of us. It refuses to let us off the hook just because we didn't create the system. Because the truth is, if we aren't disrupting it, we're participating in it. Silence is complicity, neutrality is a choice, and it's never neutral for the oppressed.
To say that we're all saved was not a dismissal of accountability. It was a call to awaken our shared responsibility. And today that work continues. We may now speak in the language of humanism, of collective liberation, of intersectional justice, but the essence remains the same, to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, but not in theory, but of course in action. Actions of prayers, intentions in how we meditate, our presence and in the truth, and when we actually say out loud, sending our thoughts and prayers, do we take that moment to pray?
Spiritual maturity demands more than reflection. It demands action. We are called to move beyond performative allyship, beyond learning without doing, beyond empathy without engagement, because people are dying, literally dying, while we're still deciding whether or not we feel ready. To say I'm just one person is no longer acceptable. It's not humility, that's evasion. And Unitarian Universalism calls for more. It calls for us to dig deeper, to ask harder questions. What do I need to confront in myself? What truths have I avoided? Whose pain am I really willing to let inconvenience me? What am I really willing to risk for justice?
This time, this era that we exist in is holy ground. This month, we mark Juneteenth, 1865, celebrating the delayed but powerful emancipation of the enslaved African Americans whose freedom was not granted but long overdue. The acknowledgement of the hierarchies that continue to constitute discrepancies in history while we are witnessing the erasure of history, with the overhaul of banned books that bleed into the marking of Pride Month, born out of the resistance at Stonewall in 1969, organized by Brenda Howard in New York, led by people like Marsha P. Johnson, supported by people like Bayard Rustin, whose bodies and identities were criminalized simply because of existing. These are not separate histories, no. They are parallel calls for liberation, both grounded in the sanctity of human dignity and the establishment of this very country we live. They challenge us to not only remember, but to recommit. A moment of silence for those we give love, for our heart space, to hug those who were afraid, and those who have relocated for safe haven. Those who prepared by teaching, and a moment of silence for those who didn't make it. A moment of silence in this moment. I ask you for your eyes to be closed to share this. This moment is necessary.
Education is important, but education without action is just consumption. Growth that doesn't change your behavior is just ego. We're not here to feel better. We're here to become better, more honest, more accountable, and more committed. We're gonna get it wrong. We're gonna stumble. But perfection is not the goal. Responsibility is. And responsibility demands that we listen when we are corrected, that we don't center our own discomfort, that we prioritize the voices of those who are most impacted, even when what they say disrupts our own self-image. When we take full responsibility for our impact, for our influence, for our role in this world, we stop asking, what can I do? And start asking, what must I do? That is how personal transformation fuels collective liberation. Not through sentiment, but through action. Not through comfort, but through courage.
Now, as we consider what it means to grow spiritually and ethically, let us reflect on a man whose life was one of continual transformation, the miseducation of Malcolm X. He once spoke from a space of deep Black nationalism rooted in righteous anger. But through travel, study, and spiritual reckoning, he emerged with a new theological clarity that centered humanity as the unifying principle. He said, I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who is for or against. I am a human being first and foremost, and as such, I am whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole. I, myself, am an interfaith theologian, like the late Ibrahim Farah Jeanay. I am a human first, then I am a Black woman, a woman descended of Cameroon, a mother to all children, lover to the spiritual realm, universal and ethereal. And that declaration is a theology of wholeness, a moral blueprint that moves us from claustrophobic nationalism to radical humanism. A belief that to honor one's group liberation doesn't mean diminishing the other, but that liberation must be collective, or it is not liberation at all.
Personal responsibility is not optional. It's the price of integrity. This path doesn't always feel good, and it's not meant to.
But what do you mean by that?
It's like the butterfly metaphor that we've heard quite a few times throughout the last year. Butterfly starts as a caterpillar, goes through the cocoon phase, and emerges as a butterfly. Let's just think about that for a second. Do we think that completely dissolving yourself into some weird bug goo is comfortable? Probably not. But it will make you true. It will make you useful. It will align your faith with your actions and your words with your values. And you don't walk this path alone. We're here together in covenant, in shared faith, in sacred obligation, not to feel better about the world as it is, but to fight for the world as it should be. When each of us takes full responsibility, the path becomes so much clearer. The burden becomes lighter, and the world becomes more just.
If the goal is to become truly democratic, inclusive society, then we must find ways to connect with one another, not only around identity, which is deeply important, but around the values and shared humanity. We do not erase differences. We refuse to let it be weaponized and semantics used to be justify the treatment of the latter, like Black Lives Matter to All Lives Matter. Let's move from a culture of blind patriotism to one grounded in principled humanity, keeping love at the center. A humanity that stands against anti-Blackness, not just for Blackness, but one that champions life, liberty, and the pursuit of equity, not to monopolize power, but to ensure that it always belongs to the people, us. Some gulfs between us may feel unbridgeable, but a shared commitment to truth, equity, and dignity becomes the moral rallying point for those trying to just hold it all together.
So we ask you, seriously, what is yours to carry? What is yours to confront? What is yours to change within yourself and around you? What fire will you keep alive, not for comfort, but to burn away injustice wherever you find it?
Education, honest education, action in education is how we begin to bridge what divides us all. We cannot undo the past, but we can refuse to replicate its discordance. To build a better nation, we must tell the truth about this one. We must teach Juneteenth in our schools, not just as a Black holiday, but as an American reckoning. We must teach about Stonewall and the decades of LGBTQ struggle, not as a side note, but as a core part of our democracy. We have to find ways to support and be present, whether in person or in conversation, or spreading the word of community leaders that seek to teach about our indigenous kinfolk of these lands. The choice of ignorance can no longer be the scapegoat of our inadequacies. The education is out there, the internet is free, and the library is open. These stories are sacred, and their absence actually keeps us divided.
So may we walk with courage. May we reject resignation. Spirituality is not an escape from the world, but a deeper engagement with it. Spirituality, especially in the Universalist tradition, is a branch off social justice. It recognizes that theology must live in the streets as well as the sanctuary, that the Spirit moves wherever people strive for truth, equity, and liberation.
And so, I may not call myself a Unitarian Universalist. I consider myself a humanist, which is still the same. A seeker, a walker of spiritual paths. I hold hands with the enlightened teachers, prophets, ancestors, and truth tellers in books who help shape a faith not only in God, but in the sacred potential of humanity itself. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourselves, she mentioned God twice. So I intentionally triggered you, because God is merely a blanket term for the undescribable, what we don't understand. And I appreciate Danny for sending me that post. It really helped bring this in. God is a blanket term for the all that is, the infinite and finite. And so, us people, we need a word to describe something that we don't really understand. God is that phrase. So that's why I use it today. Now, each week in this community, we say, love is the spirit of this church and service its law. Let us now become that love. Let us practice that service with our community covenant, not just in our meetings, but in our daily living.
And may we remember, the path to liberation begins not with intention, but with action. Every day, in every choice, right here, right now.
Let us commit then to the long work of justice. It's unending, not for accolades, not for clout, not for image, not for likes or views, as today's era is embarking upon, but because our shared humanity demands it. Let us be transformed and shaped by love, and not to be disturbed by injustice. Let us be grounded in truth, and never let us forget that every act of justice is actually a prayer.
Thank you. We eat fruit from trees planted long before we were born. May we plant seeds that bear fruit long after we're gone. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received.
That which is given in love is received with great joy. Thank you very much. Now, please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 1053 in the teal hymnal, How Could Anyone?
We'll sing twice through today. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
You may be seated. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we invite you to check out the inserts in your orders of service, which contain different pieces of literature on collective liberation, as well as a wheel of privilege, which can help you figure out where you should start your journey of self-reflection and education. Now please remain seated as Liam plays our postlude.
We invite you to follow along with the hand gestures, the light of truth, warmth of love, fire of courage, as Emma extinguishes our chalice. The words to the UU St. Pete's traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service and online in the text chat. We extinguish this flame,
but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Our worship service is over, but our service begins. Please join us for coffee in Gilmore, and if you see someone not talking to anyone, be brave, be bold. Approach them and say hello, or ahoy like I do. We hope this time together will help you through your week, and remember that you are not alone. Thank you.